All right. I'm going to take over a bit. Remember, all of this, the key to this is posted online. So if you need to check, I will show you where to find it in a bit. I want you to focus on question 3 here. Determine the following. Okay. I will add a little bit to this. I'll just say finding percentage of a number. Right? That's basically what you're doing here. Finding the percentage of a number. We're going to do this a lot in this course. It's all over the place. Okay? So for example, if you want to find 3% of $250, watch that. There's a dollar sign there. I don't know if your teachers have, I'm sure they've drilled this in, but when you see 3%, what does that really mean as a fraction? 3 out of 100. Think of those two as zeros, right? So it's really 3 over 100. That's what they're saying with percentage. And of in math is usually represented by times. So you go 200 times $250. So it's 3 divided by 100 times $250. You can do this all in one shot if you want, but 3 divided by 100 is 0.03. If you forget, don't be shy, don't be scared, just use your calculator. So 3 over 100 is also the same thing as saying 0.03. So we've basically rewritten that original statement in various ways. The last one I'm showing you right here is the most common way that I'm going to show you the work. I'm going to go, whenever I see a percentage, I'm going to divide it by 100 to get a decimal, and then we go 2 times 250. So let's go ahead and go times 250. That's 750. This is a dollar amount. You have to make sure you understand that. And by the way, I don't know if your previous teachers have told you what happens there. According to the province, if it's a dollar amount, you have to put a 0 on. You would get half a mark deduction for this answer right here because it's a dollar amount. So it's kind of annoying. We've tried to complain, but they're like, nope. If it's a dollar amount, you would never at a store say see 7.5. It would usually be 750 or something like that. So this is the answer I want you to circle. So 3% of $250 is 750, right? So if your boss says, hey, you're going to get a 3% increase on your salary, you're like, oh, I wonder how much that is. Well, 3% of what you're making, in this case, it would be $7.50 increase. Not a big sum, but anyways, right? So let's continue that again. I'm going to skip this middle step here. I'm just going to grab my calculator and go 2.75 divided by 100, right? I'm going to turn that into a decimal right away. So I'm going to go 0.0275. Please show your work. 2,550 cents. And I'm just going to put my answer underneath. I'm going to redo this, sorry. Something went wrong. So times 2,500.5. And there it is. Now this is where rounding comes in. So this is $68.76 because remember, you want to round to 2 decimals, but you look at the third number in this case, and because it's less than 5, it keeps the 6 where it is. It doesn't bump it up, right? So this is, I would strongly encourage you to always circle your final answers. And I'll explain why as I do more. The province wants to know like which one is your actual answer here. You've done a ton of work, but what's the final answer? So they want to know, clearly identify it. Last one here. Well, actually, I will do one more after that. So watch this. This is a decimal and a percentage. So sometimes that throws students off. It doesn't matter. If you see a percent symbol, you divide it by 100 every time, right? And you use all of it. So this percentage translates to this times 675. So I'll put I just go times 675. So that is 5.7 what? Yes, because this 7, no, don't worry about anything else, just the one right beside it, it bumps that up to a 4. And it's in dollars as well. Okay? So I hope that starts to make sense. I'll do the last one. I'll skip this one. I'll go right to this one. Or do you want me to do D? Do it. Okay. 2.75%. Like, what is that? No worries. We know that 3/4 is 75, right? So it's as if it's saying 2.75%. That's what that is saying. Okay, and remember the percent symbol is still there, so we need to deal with it. So 2.75 divided by 100, that turns out to be that. Okay, can you see? You can see, yeah? 0.0275 times that huge number there, 564,980.45. Okay, so I'll just go times, because I have that on my calculator, I leave it, 564,980.45. And there's my answer. It's a big number. There it is. It's 15,536, and then it's 96, right? Because the 2 doesn't do anything to that. And it's in dollars because of the dollar sign symbol. And there's my final answer. Okay? And now this is the one that I want you to, if you have a highlighter, there's something here that every once in a while sneaks in. In this case, we have people. You want to find, like, let's say a survey says 25.64% of students will use their cell phones even though they're told not to. And we want to know, well, how many students would that be? This is how you would do it. Okay, so you turn that into a decimal. Like, you got to get rid of that percent symbol. The only way to do that is divide by 100. Stop repeating yourself, Mr. Erickson. It's very annoying. It's okay. I have kids too. I can say things 1,000 times. Guess what? They'll still forget. Please hang up your towel after showering. I think I said it probably every day, and it still doesn't happen. So there's something here that you need to be aware of. This is technically your answer, but we're dealing with people. In this case, the province would imply you can't have decimals, right? Because it's number of people, number of coins, something that, right, you can't have partial units of. So you round this, right? You say both answers would be okay. 212 or 213 people. So don't do the or, okay? I'm just letting you know both answers are okay, and you're like, well, Mr. Dixon, I would round up because this 7 rounds to 2 to a 3, and you are correct. Just follow that. But the province is okay either way, rounding down or rounding up when it comes to whole numbers, okay? So this is a little bit of a nuance there, okay? We're good? Any questions, comments, concerns? I'll put a 1-800 number on the screen at the end of the lesson. It'll be like a cereal company, so you'll call that. And you should do that, right? Call those 1-800s and just give them a comment. They're a bit too crunchy today. All right. Let's do one more cross multiply and divide. Which one do you want to do? One of them only. G? G. All right. So when you see one of these, my way. This is my way. If your teacher taught you, if Mr. Neufeld, Mr. Isfeld, or Mr. Slavinsky taught you an awesome way of doing this, keep doing it. We're all on the same page, okay? I just go find my variable. I start with a number. In this case, it's on top of it. So my journey will be multiplying down, and then the next step will be dividing that way. But this is not showing your work. This is just a trick to know. So I go 17.79 times 3584.52 divided by that big number there, 125. And I just used up all my space, I know. I just want to make sure you can see it. 17.79 multiply by 3584. It's okay to use the times symbol, but I like brackets. Let me see. I'm talking and doing this at the same time, so I hope I get this right. That's 0.5. Some of you might be tempted to say 50, but the 8 bumps this to a 1. Is this good? Okay, thank you. That's my answer. That's what K has to be in order for both sides to be the same. Morning. I think the rest I'm just going to leave. And the reason being is because it's going to come up in this unit actually. So instead of spending time going over this, I will just go and, oh, taxes. Maybe I'll do one tax. Question 6. Question 6, okay? Come with me all the way down to question 6. I'm too ambitious sometimes. So that's why when I make, I'm going to make this awesome review package, it's like we only have one day. How are you going to do the whole thing in one day, right? So sometimes I have more time. You know the staggered start where you only started on Thursday? That used to not be a thing. We would all start on Wednesday, so we lose some time there. Question 6, calculate the total before and after tax. And notice that the PST and the GST is 7 and 5. But you know what? Try to just remember it's 12%. And here's where your formula sheet comes in for the first time in this course. Look at the back of this green sheet. If you ever forget what taxes are, at the back it says tax rates. PST or RST, they mean the same thing. RST is retail sales tax. PST is provincial sales tax, is the same thing. That's 7%. And the GST, the goods and services tax, is 5%. So that's something you can grab straight off of your formula sheet. There it is. Okay? So let's do the taxes for these two questions and then I'll move on. Jenna purchases 3 pop drinks at $125 each, as well as 4 Dream Donuts at $150 each. All right, so I'll show you what I do here. I would go 3 pop drinks times $1.25, right? That's this part, plus 4 donuts that are $1.50 each. So I'm doing the work right here. If you have a decent calculator, you can probably do this all in one shot. I would discourage you from doing that. I would just say this part is $375, and then 4 times 150 is 6. Right, so this part is $275, 4 donuts is 6. Now you add it up. So I'll go plus 3.75. Oh, you can see that. But that's $975. $975. This is before taxes. Make sure you understand that, before tax. It's almost like your subtotal. So if taxes weren't a thing, that's how much you would pay. How about after taxes? This is the trick that I use, okay? If you want to include taxes to this, you go to the store, you do this every time. You will just go times 1.12. If you want to add taxes to anything, multiply it by 1.12. I don't know if your teachers have done that in the past, if they've done that trick, have they? You recognize that? I need you to understand why though. Like the 975 is like your 100%, right? But you're adding 12% to it, right? 100% plus 12%, it's like you're paying 112% in total, right? So 112% turned into a decimal would be 1.12. That's where that comes from. So this is the quick way of doing this. So you take 9.75 times 1.12, that's 1092. This is after tax. It's not that bad because it's a small amount, right? Oops. There you go. Next, Jake buys a new gaming console for $399.99 and 2 new games for $54.99. It's crazy how much money goes into video games these days. My boys are like, hey, can we buy, what was it the other day? And the game was like $70. I'm like, what? Save it. Okay, so $399 plus 2 games, right? So I'm just going to figure out the 2 games here real quick. If, you know what, maybe I'll just show you. If you have one of these calculators, you can actually do this in one shot. Plus 2 times $54.99. Okay, that's $509.97. Regardless of how you did it. I'm not going to be too picky, but just show me some work. This is before tax. If you multiply this by 1.12, voila, there's your answer, 571.17. Okay. This is after tax. Just make sure I forgot something here because this is part of your answer. Before tax doesn't have a dollar sign. It doesn't matter if you show dollar sign along the way, as long as your final answer has it. Okay? So I'm going to circle the before tax, and I'm circling after tax. I'm labeling clearly. It's all good there. So I hope that helped you. It was a quick review. Right? So you go to the store, and it's 1.12 if you want to know the price after tax. Except for some items don't get taxed 12%. Did you know that? Like meat, milk, like raw products, they actually are not taxed at all. And some services, if you go to, if you get your car repaired, it's only 5%. You only pay the GST. You don't pay PST. You pay PST and GST on the parts, but the labor is only 5%. So we'll navigate through that as the course progresses. All right. So this is it for review. I'm going to give you that AC. You're going to put your name and last name. Please put your last name as well. It helps me remember your name, especially there's a bunch of people that have the same name as you. So I'm going to stop this right here.